Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. When it comes to our election and polling analysis, we've been talking about two specific topics quite regularly. The first is, of course, demographic shift, namely the Latino vote, which is something that we're talking a whole lot about these days. And the second bit, which of course has been the forefront of almost every single polling analysis video that I've made, is Democrat copium. Democrats have somehow convinced themselves that they're in a good place electorally. They've been taking the polling data at face value, and they've convinced themselves that everything's moving in their favor. But slowly we've noticed that this false confidence, this copium, has been eroding over time, and that's the topic that we've been covering a whole lot. How Democrats have been subtly and slowly realizing that maybe they shouldn't trust the polls, maybe things aren't as good as they think they are for them, and maybe, just maybe, they don't have the advantage or the lead that they think they do. Maybe they're screwed. And the erosion of this copium is something we've been talking a whole lot about, and of course, the Latino vote. And what I'm noticing now is that these two sort of topics are actually kind of intertwined, because all of a sudden, Democrats, and of course the mainstream Democrat media, seems to be entering sheer panic mode. All of a sudden, I keep seeing all kinds of leftoids and all kinds of segments on MSNBC and CNN sounding the alarm about the Hispanic vote. It seems as though they have finally realized that they're probably screwed, and we can tell that the copium is eroding because of their panic over the Hispanic vote shift. That's what I mean by the two things are connected. Well, folks, those are the exact topics of today's discussion, of course, a continuation to what we've been covering and what we've been discussing over the last however many years. Let me show you guys panic setting in at MSNBC over the Hispanic vote, and then let me go on and on about why MSN is actually correct. They should be panicking because they've essentially lost this voting demographic. We've got some stuff to get into, friends, so let's roll the tape. Alright, folks, so copium is a hell of a drug. Of course, we know that. We deal in Democrat copium on a near constant daily basis. But what you might be asking is, what does it look like when the copium wears off? When Democrats go to copium detox, they go to copium rehab, and all of a sudden start speaking some sense. Well, this is exactly what it looks like.
I think the larger picture is that Latinos have been sending a message for the past 4 years, right? If you take a step back and you just look at 2020, Donald Trump won 7 of the 14 counties along the U.S.-Mexico border, right? And he was able to flip 2 of those, and he made significant inroads in places like the Rio Grande Valley. Fast forward to this summer, someone like Mayra Flores suddenly becomes the first Republican to win Hidalgo County in over 100 years. Fast forward to where we are now, we're not just talking about Mayra Flores. There's 3 Latina Republicans in South Texas that are running for office that are completely transforming the dynamics of politics in Texas, right? And I think the message is that suddenly this hypothetical question of, can the Rio Grande Valley, this stronghold for the Democrats, this majority Latino region, can a place like that suddenly become the region that gives Republicans this final push they need through the finish line? That used to be a hypothetical question. It no longer is.
I'm telling you, reality is starting to sink in and the copium is starting to fade. All of a sudden, they're starting to realize the same points that I've been pointing out forever. That a lot of places, especially along the southern border, that Democrats might be taking for granted could very easily be scooped up by a strong Republican candidate, especially a strong Latina or Latino candidate. And that is increasingly becoming more common over the years. I mean, Mayra Flores isn't going to be the last one to flip a Democrat stronghold district red. It's going to continue happening. And it's happening very simply, as even CNN can admit and point out, because Democrats are behind the game, like normal.
In states like Florida, which Nathan and I were just discussing in the break, and in South Texas, Democrats have not been competing there aggressively or trying to do aggressive outreach to Latino voters, which are different Latinos than live in Arizona, than live in Nevada. And so they focused way more in Arizona and in Nevada. But again, a lot of, Democratic Latino strategists will tell you that the party is often late to the game in terms of how close it gets down to the election, and that was why Nevada was a lot closer than people expected in 2020.
Right. It should be a priority from day one.
And this is what I mean, by the way, by everywhere you look all over the leftist networks and publications. It's nothing but Democrat panic sounding the alarm over the loss of the Latino vote. And she's totally correct. Even Democrat strategists are able to admit it. Even Even CNN is talking about it. Democrats have this major issue when it comes to minority votes. They think that they could win Hispanic and black voters with the most empty, surface-level pandering. It's not gonna work anymore. And frankly, I'll even go as far to say that I think it's racist to a certain extent. The implication is that black voters or Latino voters are looking for government support or handouts or are looking for cheap cultural nonsense. From the Democrat perspective, all you need to secure the black vote is to bring Beyonce and Jay-Z on the stage and go on Charlemagne the God's radio show and talk about how you have hot sauce in your purse. It's almost like an SNL skit. Democrats' major issue when it comes to holding on to minority votes is the simple fact that they treat these minority voters as if they're different. But fundamentally, at the end of the day, the color of your skin, your heritage, whatever it is, isn't the major factor behind your voting decisions. Policies are, the economy is. You go along racial lines and humans are humans, regardless of whether they're from. The number one issue right now are gas prices, inflation, cost of housing, people's 401ks evaporating, and Democrats are focused on hot sauce in January 6th. No wonder they're losing so much support, and they're realizing it a little bit too late. The Wall Street Journal just released this article: Latino voters, once solidly Democratic, split along economic lines. Working class Latino voters in particular are moving towards Republicans. See what I mean by they're sounding off the alarm? But it's a little bit too late. You're realizing some really basic stuff here, months, if not years after the fact. Democrats are totally out of touch, walking into the room with their token minority friend, dressed in cultural appropriation clothes, saying, "How do you do, my fellow Latinxes? Oh, I love hot sauce and breakfast tacos. Vote for me. It's not gonna work." And we've been pointing this out for a very long time. This is why the point that CNN makes when they say that Democrats are behind the game is totally accurate. They're so snooty and elitist and out of touch, and they're losing the working class. There's a reason why the working class is moving towards the Republican Party, and there's a reason why it's not only happening based on racial lines. White working class, Hispanic, black, whatever it is, you name it, working class people across the board are feeling increasingly disconnected with the liberal elitism, out of touch nonsense. Working class people don't care about January 6th. They have actual important things and important issues that are pertinent to them. They're not working at their fancy desk job, viewing the world of politics like a massive reality show or soap opera, focused on all the drama and whatever the liberal outrage story of the week is. They're trying to feed their kids, and they want to live in safe communities. Democrats are going to them saying, "Vote for me, I'm a threat to democracy, I'm orange man bad January 6th. And Republicans are just saying, "The economy sucks, let's fix it. Freedom, secure border, safe communities." And the choice is obvious. It's not even a hard decision to make, and that's why we're seeing so many people who have considered themselves lifelong Democrats switching their party registration and becoming Republicans, voting for Republicans for the first time, in many cases in decades. This Democrat copium is just incredible. People are analyzing this election from the Democrat side or from the liberal side, pretending as if historical context is meaningless, historical precedents. And this year, it's just magically going to be different. And that all of those historical trends and predictive tools, well, they don't apply this time, Democrats tell themselves. Well, they do, very simply. Not only is it a midterm election during the first year of a failed Democrat president, which signals that Republicans are in a better position when it comes to voter turnout, but the economy's stupid.
Who do you trust to handle the economy? Democrats 38%, Republicans 52%. If you're Republicans, we talked about immigration earlier in the program, if you're Republicans, you see those numbers and you think, talk about inflation.
Yeah. And this right here is where Democrats, in my opinion, have shot themselves in the foot. They've played all of these games, they've ignored key economic issues, and this idea that Democrats are going to overperform when they're losing the voter registration battle, they're losing when it comes to voter enthusiasm, they're losing demographics, they're losing the working class, it's just not going to happen. And I really think that based Latino voters are going to change the electoral map for generations, because Democrats have seriously screwed up with this political relationship, and it's going to have long-lasting effects. It might take a while for them to fully materialize, but I believe it's going to materialize. It's probably going to be a major factor in this election, and probably even in the next. Democrats have sullied their relationship with certain voter groups, and considering how arrogant and delusional and condescending they are, I highly doubt they're going to have the humility required to fix this issue. Hispanic voters are going to deal a serious blow to the Democrat establishment. That's just my prediction. That's what I'm thinking, and apparently even the Democrats themselves on CNN and MSNBC are thinking the same thing. But in the end, we'll just have to see exactly what happens here. That's what I got for you guys though. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys are up for joining the community, of course. I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.